What's going on, everyone out there in YouTube land? So today we are going to have a quick first look, not a full review, just a quick show and tell of a new device coming from Lost Vape. This is their dual 18650 Squonk device called the Drone BF. BF stands for bottom feed. Presentation box, just like the Triad, we have this leather suede triangular box. Inside the box, you're going to get the device. You'll get a warranty card, a user manual that goes over the DNA 250/167, and then a micro USB cable for charging the device and also to connect to your Windows computer for the eScribe software. As far as any squonking accessories like bottom feed pins, feeding tubes, extra bottles, you don't get anything like that. The only thing you're going to get is the device, the feeding tube, and one bottle. Checking out the drone, you guys will see that the shape is very similar to the Triad. Dimensions on the drone: 96 millimeters tall, 50 millimeters wide, 41.5 millimeters thick. It does weigh in without batteries at 276 grams, so this one does have a bit of weight to it. If we compare it up against a few other Lost Vape devices, if we compare it next to the Triad, you guys will see that very similar in shape. The drone is, of course, a little bit taller and heavier. Also comparing it next to their previous Squonk device, the single 18650 Therion, you'll see the Therion, of course, is going to be much smaller. And then also comparing it to the Scar, if I can find my Scar, there it is. You'll see the Scar is just a little bit shorter. So I think the drone is actually going to be one of the taller devices that Lost Vape offers. So at the top, we do have an all stainless steel 510 connection. Down in the center, we have a stainless steel spring-loaded bottom feeding 510 pin. And I think this is the first Squonk device that I own that has a spring-loaded bottom feeding pin. Since it's spring-loaded, that means you can pretty much use any atomizer on top and it's going to sit flush. Now you can use this as a bottom feeder, or you can screw down a regular atomizer and just use it like a regular device and not use the bottom feeding function. We do have a nice firm spring on that pin, so you're going to have really good connection with all your atomizers. You'll notice we have this stainless steel top plate with almost like a mirrored finish on top. Now, if I screw down my 25 millimeter Kennedy with the bottom feeding pin, you'll see this sits nice and flush. And of course, because that 510 pin is in the center, we're not going to have no overhang. I think that was wonderful that Lost Vape put that 510 connection in the center. Now, if I want to use it just as a normal device with a normal atomizer, no bottom feeding function, I can screw down my 30 millimeter Modfather RTA, and you guys will see that this large RTA has zero overhang. I think this thing might actually accommodate 40 millimeters. I'm not 100% sure, but I will let you guys know in the full review. But there it is with a 30 millimeter, and it looks beautiful. Working our way down, we're going to have your firing switch, your OLED display, your wattage buttons, and your micro USB port. The buttons on the drone are very similar to the buttons on the Triad and the Therion. Nice, solid buttons, nice and clicky and responsive. They don't feel weak. And if I shake the device like a maniac, I don't get any button rattle or any battery rattle. So nice, tight device. We got the DNA 250 screen in the center. Nice, bright, beautiful screen. And then at the bottom, we have the micro USB port. And since this one is using the 250 chip, we have 2 amp balanced charging over USB. And also, you can connect it to your Windows computer for the eScribe software. Also, we have the same stainless steel polished faceplate along the side, which I think looks beautiful. You do kind of notice a little bit of the brush marks, but I much prefer this look over the kind of grayish look that the Triad had. At the bottom, you'll notice we have the Drone BF logo. It does say DNA 166. I'm not too sure why they put 166. They should have put either 167 or DNA 250. There is no ventilation ports at the bottom. Now, the battery door on the drone We're going to have your 218 650s on this side, and they're going to be completely separated from the Squonk bottle. There's going to be your Squonk bottle. And what I like most about this, once again, is the batteries are completely separate. So you don't need to remove the bottle to access the batteries, and you don't need to remove the batteries to access the bottle. We have a nice tight fit battery door, very strong magnets. And if I remove the battery door, you'll see once again, the batteries are completely separate from the bottle. So what's really strange about this device, and I noticed it when I put the batteries in here, is the batteries are running in parallel, which is strange because this is using a DNA 250 chip and you cannot run batteries in parallel with a DNA 250. It's just not going to give enough power to the chip. So I did talk to a few people and I asked them, you know, what's the deal with this? And they said more than likely it's wired to the board in series. And if it's actually wired in parallel, this thing would not turn on. So I'm going to contact Lost Vape for the full review just to, you know, verify what they did exactly. And then on this side, we have your Squonk bottle. So what you do, I think this is a 10 mil Squonk bottle. I'm not 100% sure. Once again, trying to find specs on this device at the moment is very hard because it's not listed anywhere. But in the full review, I'll let you guys know. We'll see exactly how much it holds, but yep, here's your Squonk bottle. You can remove the entire tube. Now, I haven't filled it up yet, so the tube is still a little dry, but once you lube up this tip right here, you could easily slide it over the bottom feeding pin right there. As for the battery door, we do have two large magnets at the top, and then at the bottom, it kind of clicks and locks into place, like on the Triad and the Therion. So when you put the door on and you push it down, you feel it kind of grab at the bottom. And once again, we do have a nice, tight battery door. And this mod does not rattle whatsoever. And I know for those out there, they're probably going to ask, can I use my Triad door on the drone if I don't want to use it as a Squonk device? The answer is probably going to be no, because it's a larger device. So yeah, the Triad door is not going to fit. So I filled up the bottle. Make sure you lube up the feeding tube. Put a little liquid on the outside and just squeeze it a little bit to get a little juice on the tip, so that way it slides onto the 510 pin much easier. And now all you got to do, if I can do this, just slide it into the pin, over the pin, pop it in, and there you go. Now it should squonk beautifully. There we go. There's our juice. And the atomizer that I'm going to use today, I think I'm going to use the Goon LP, since I have the bottom feeding pin. Once again, your atomizer has to have a hollow pin, a bottom feeding pin, if you're going to use the Squonk device, which I'm sure you guys know by now. And that's pretty much going to be it, guys, for the up close and personal. Let's jump back up and let's have a quick vape off this thing. All right, so I got the LP sitting on top, got the bottom feeding pin installed. There's a look at it with the LP. That looks beautiful. Oh, I love the fact that 510's in the center. Let's have a Squonk, shall we? Let's kind of press the bottle a little bit. There we go. And let's have a vape at 88 watts. So ever since Lost Vape came out with the Therion Squonk device, I had this idea. I told them, you know, take the Triad, remove one of the batteries from the Triad, put a bottle in there, and make a dual 18650 Squonk device. A few months later, I contact them. They say, "Yay, we have the drone coming out." And let me tell you, this thing so far, for the few hours I've had it, is awesome. Now, once again, it's a quick look. It's not a full review. I'm going to use it for about a week. I want to see if it leaks. I want to see if the bottle leaks. I want to see if the finish holds up. I'll come back in a week. We'll do a full review. But as of now, this thing is constructed beautifully. Love the design. The buttons are much tighter on this one than compared to the Triad. The 510 connection being in the center right there, man, that's perfect. Everything looks good on here. I found a 40 millimeter for those out there who like 40 millimeter atomizers. And I can tell you right now, the 40s do not overhang. They come right to the edge on here. So the fact that I now have a device that looks good with my 30 millimeter tanks, I'm very excited about. And I'll probably end up using this device as a Squonk device and also as a regular device. It would be kind of cool if maybe they come out with a battery door in the future, you know, that will close this off, so that way when you use it as a regular device, you don't have that bottle showing. Kind of a cool idea, but overall, so far, loving it. I love the way they have the polished faceplate on the front and the top right here. It's beautiful. It's tight. It's beautiful. It works. Why the batteries are set in parallel, I have no idea. The DNA 250 chip would not work if the batteries are running in parallel. So I talked to a few people and they said more than likely the chip is wired in series on the inside. Okay, so I'm going to talk to Lost Vape before the full review. I'll get some specs and whatnot, and I'll ask them about the batteries, but it's working, so it has to be wired in series. I don't know what's going on. But nonetheless, loving it. Right now, happy. Don't find any flaws with it at the moment, but we'll see what happens in about a week or so. So, yeah, that's going to be it, guys, for the quick look on the drone. There are no links to any vendors because nobody has it in stock, but I did notice that Origin Vape, they do have a notification on their page to be notified when it becomes in stock. They don't have a price listed at the moment, and when I look online, I don't see any other vendors that have it at the moment, so I don't have a price tag. I'm going to assume around $149 or so. I could be wrong, could be totally wrong, but that's what their devices have normally been at. But yeah, that's it. I'll have more stuff for you guys in the full review, I promise. Other than that, that's all I got for you guys today. If you have any comments or questions on the drone, please feel free to leave them below. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'll talk to everyone very, very soon. Make sure you guys build safe and vape on.